welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. Today was the Free Speech Union monthly newsletter day, and all the news was good. It's really shocking because it's just been doom and gloom every time you get one. It's like, oh, who's been arrested now for a nasty tweet, But it looks like the Free Speech Union's activities are bearing fruit. Pretty much everything is positive. It is summing up, so some of it I've talked about before. You've got Graham Linehan. Obviously, the case against him has been dropped. Now we've got to wait and see what happens because he's going to sue for wrongful arrest, and we're going to see what happens there. Then there was a man who was convicted for burning a Quran, and that conviction has been overturned because there was a fear that his conviction was effectively bringing in blasphemy laws by the back door. NCHIs, that's one of my favourite topics. This says that October marks the beginning of the end for non-crime hate incidents, with their long campaign against them bearing fruit. Barely have we popped the champagne for Graham Linehan, then the Metropolitan Police announced it would no longer investigate them. This timing, though, wasn't coincidental. The sheer ridiculousness of Graham's arrest seemed to have made the public and police officers alike suddenly realise that people shouldn't be arrested merely because someone, somewhere, has taken offence at something lawfully they have said or posted. Actually, that reminds me, I mentioned about the number of people being arrested and I didn't really know the statistics. I've looked it up and this is under-egging the pudding apparently, but they reckon, I think it was 33 people are arrested a day for things they post. Hopefully with this news that will change. I thought I'm going to do some digging, see if anybody's asked the Metropolitan Police about NCHIs in a Freedom of Information request, and sure enough they have. And I found out that just the Met Police, so this is just London, have been, well, I mean, it varies. It sort of started in, hang on, let me not make this up. Let me look at the stats. So, 2019, it was 2,212. And then that rose to 3,610 in 2021. So these are non-crime hate incidents being logged, bearing in mind that these can affect people's job prospects if they show up, or they will show up, on an enhanced DB check. Then we've got 3,001 in 2022, 2,772 in 2023, and then dropping down to 2,253 in 2024. I bet you that's gone up in 25 though. It's interesting though, isn't it, that the height of this was 2021. So yeah, so 2020 to 2022, very high. And that's probably COVID, isn't it? Everybody was a bit angsty. Even so, that's a lot of records being kept for people that haven't actually broken the law. Anyway, we'll talk about those another time. Might do a deep dive on NCHIs, given they are my favourite topic. Next article, Durham Council adopts a free speech code, and that is, so a guy called Darren Grimes, who's from Reform UK. He's now a councillor there. He's been on telly, I think he did GB News or something like that. But he's been instrumental in getting this code pushed through, and it matches another council. You'll have to forgive the gurgling in the background, that's my washing drying. But he was instrumental in getting this code into Durham. I think they wanted to replicate Bromley. I think they did it in the first place, which is really surprising given it's a London council. But they've had 172 complaints about councillors since Reform have got into Durham. And that's just crackers, isn't it? Because it's just all that time wasted investigating. And also taxpayers' money is spent. In fact, it says 34 led to taxpayer-funded investigations, which is quite frankly a waste of money. The only bit I think is a bit of a downer is the official definition of Islamophobia is still pushing through. I mean, they've said that it's a troubled saga. And I do know that the Free Speech Union, if this gets pushed through, the Free Speech Union are going to seek judicial review because the whole thing is being kept completely under wraps. It's in complete secrecy. And even the top Muslim in the country, being Shabana Mahmood, who's the Home Secretary, even she has concerns about this. So keep you posted on that one. Then there's a little bit about their membership. In July 2024, 4 and a bit years after the Free Speech Union was founded, they had 14,000 members. And since that figure, so July 2024, now let me think, what happened then? I think possibly there was an election. Since that time, they now have 40,000 members, and they believe it could actually reach 50,000 by the end of the year. And then there are students fighting back. So this is about gender critical students. I hate using that term, gender critical. Just because you believe in biology, that makes you critical. It's bizarre. Anyway, there's some young students that have had a very rough time, and they have launched the Cambridge University Society of Women. There's an academic who has been cleared by Cambridge University because he wrote a Substack article which was critical of DEI. You know, I understand what he wrote probably upset people. I understand how that could upset people. I haven't read the article, let's put it that way. And I understand it's much more nuanced than's being reported. So just put that caveat in there. But I can understand how his words did hurt people. But that does not excuse some of the messages that I have seen have been sent about putting ski masks on and jumping in. And it's just ridiculous. Country's gone mad. And then the other things are just about the FSU, Christmas do, their podcast, etc., etc. All good stuff. Then as for fun stuff, I went to the cinema at the weekend, obviously. And I went to see Back to the Future, and it was on at the massive screen in Leicester Square, the big Odeon. And it was just brilliant. And it's ironic, actually, because my stars last week, which covered the weekend, said, whether the goal is creativity, healing, comfort, or self-awareness, your inner child holds the key. Go down memory lane, look back at relevant situations from your childhood that link to your question or theme now. Play old songs, look at the photo album, scroll through scenes and pictures of that era. Something will dislodge from your subconscious that brings you to the insight you seek. Your inner child is never far and always hopes for your gaze. So there you are. I was definitely, although, was I a child? My chair's squeaking as well. It's very noisy, this podcast. But where was I? Oh yeah, Back to the Future. Oh, it was great fun. The only thing I will say is that the makeup, because half the cast, all the cast were aged. And the makeup really shows when you're on a huge, great big screen in high definition. You could see all the latex that was used to age everyone up. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Such a good movie. And Michael J. Fox is brilliant, isn't he? Although I did notice he's constantly got his mouth open. Very rarely closes his mouth. I don't know whether that's linked to the condition he had later in life, because I'm sure I've heard something about that. But anyway, just an observation. So that's it, really. The only thing we've got left to do is the impossible decision, which I don't think today's is that impossible, really. And do answer in the comments in YouTube. Come on, I want to hear from you. Would you rather go on a European backpacking holiday or a relaxing Caribbean holiday? Much love and gratitude.